Hi there. Thanks for joining me today. Welcome at the May vlog of Business Naturally, Leadership with Nature as a Mentor. Like every month, I take you into nature to see what we as organizations can learn from our mentor, nature. And the theme this month is systems. In nature, we see that everything is systems based. Well, that's why I'm walking here in this ecosystem. So, let's find out what we can learn today. Right, here we are, our first spot of the day. So basically we talk about ecosystems today. And what I'd like to get across today is that there is no such thing as independence. In nature, everything is interdependent. Yes, you have your own talent, as also discussed last time, that makes you unique, and that's your unique contribution, but it doesn't mean you're independent. It only means you're part of a huge system. Well, and there's two aspects that we can actually look at here already. The first one is that there's a climate. There always is a climate. We live in the Netherlands, so we have a temperate climate, and we are now at the end of spring, and now conditions within our climate are good for growth. The temperature has gone up, and therefore we can grow. As an entrepreneur, you're also always part of some kind of climate. The climate can be favorable for entrepreneurship, and sometimes it can be less favorable. But that's the conditions you have to deal with. You can't change them. There's only the climate. And then there's a second factor that you can't influence, but you are depending on, and that is, in the case of nature, sun. We have this external source of energy, and it's shining on me now, so, well, it's disappearing on me now as well, but that's the way it works. Sometimes you have the sun, sometimes you don't have it. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, you can compare that also to an external source of energy, which is in many cases finance. Not every entrepreneur needs finance, but if it's available and if it's easily accessible, it definitely favors the conditions for entrepreneurship. So what we can see here already is, right now I am in a climate which is favorable for growth because the temperature is good, humidity is good, and I have the external source of energy. So those two elements in the ecosystem are already good. So let's find out if everything else is working with us as well. Well, I'm glad I found this. Not that I'm glad that there's a dead tree, but this dead tree gives me the opportunity to show you the next two aspects of the ecosystem thinking. And the first of those two is soil. If we look at this tree, we see that there's only like a thin layer of soil where this tree was growing in. And underneath that is just sand, white sand, no nutrients, nothing. That soil, we can compare it to culture. The richer the soil, the thicker the layer of soil, the richer the culture, the more biodiversity we find. As you can see here, I'm surrounded by a pine forest. It's like a monoculture basically, because only these pines manage to grow on a thin layer of soil like this. That automatically brings me then to the next aspect of the ecosystem thinking, and that is support. So yes, we need a climate, we need energy, we need soil, but we also need support. Nobody can do it on their own. As companies, we often need an external accountant, we might need ICT support, and so forth. You can think of all kinds of different things. This dead tree now is basically working towards adding support for the next generations of plants and trees to grow here. Because this tree will decay, and all the nutrients that are still in its tree, they will go into the soil, making the soil richer and therefore providing more support. When we talk about support, you can always also think about of that puddle that I just passed. You saw me walking past the puddle. If there's no rain, nothing can grow. So that water is also part of the support system. So all these systems together, all these aspects together, they make a system. And that system makes it possible for trees and plants to grow in. The richer the system, the more biodiversity. All right, well, one more stop. Right, and that brings us to the last stop of the day. Here you find me next to an elder bush, and you can see this beautiful flower. And this is where it all comes together. Now we are going to add the last two elements, the last two aspects of the ecosystem, and it's flora and fauna. As you can see here, the flora, so all the trees and the plants, those are the producers in nature. They've produced these beautiful flowers. However, they cannot reproduce without the market, without the consumers, and that's the animal kingdom. So it needs insects for pollination. So there's already the interdependence again. This flower can only be here because everything is now as it's supposed to be. The climate is good, there's enough external energy, there's support, we had rain lately, there is a good culture, there's a rich soil, and now it needs the flora, it needs the consumers to actually come and take that little bit of nectar that's in there, but at the same time it's also pollinating the flower. So here it all adds up. And now we're not completely there yet, because after that pollination, this elder can start to produce berries. So by the end of the season, the berries will be produced. Then again it needs the consumers, again it needs flora, then it needs birds to come here to pick up the berries and to distribute the seeds somewhere else. So there again you can see it's all interdependent. Nothing happens without a reason, and nothing can exist purely in itself. Alright, that's my whole story for today. I hope you enjoyed it and that you take something from it that you can apply to your own organization. And I would like to say, well, to the next one. Take care.